Welcome to the Barefoot interview. Today I'm speaking with Kutcha Edwards, an Indigenous Australian singer and songwriter and a member of the Stolen Generation. Welcome, Kutcha. Thank you.
How's things?
Very, very well. Bit of funny weather down here in Adelaide today. The sun's shining, but the rain seems to be pushing through.
It's a bit overcast here.
Oh, okay. I'm wondering, could you start perhaps by telling us how you would describe your musical style?
I don't know. It's how would I explain it? Well, this last album is a blues album. The very first song that I ever wrote was a song called Roll with the Rhythm. It was on an album brought out by a band called Blackfire. I started in the band in 1991, I think. And prior to that, I was in a all-male ensemble called Womadelaide. There was about 11 guys in the band, and with 11 guys in the band come 11 egos, and so that band didn't last very long, and went on to form the band Blackfire, and my music is I suppose somewhat autobiographical. I write about personal experience out of myself, my family, my clan, my tribe, my people, and my country. So it covers a lot of things that I can write about. But there's only probably been 2 instances where I've sort of written outside what it is that is me and my family. But those occasions where I wrote the official song for the opening of the Melbourne Museum, a song called Galleries of Life. And then I had to do another song. But I've written a lot of songs over the years, Paul, and I've, not only for myself, but, project-based work, either in schools or jails or, I don't know. So it's hard to sort of pinpoint my music, really, but I'm somewhat of a balladeer. And I suppose that's sort of the way that people like to describe my music.
Bit of a storyteller.
And a storyteller. I like to sort of yarn in between performances, in between the songs, and sort of sort of give the people the gist of the song. But I'm also, in a sense, cryptic in my writing, in that I might say one thing, but actually there are 10 answers to the question that I might pose, and it's up to the individual to interpret what it is that I'm actually asking or saying, and their interpretation to the answer. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's tricks of the trade, and I've learned from some of the best in Australia, but I don't know. Everybody has their own way of what works for them, and that's that's how I do my writing.
You were saying that all but 2 of your songs are quite personal stories from your life, and you're also quite public about the circumstances of your upbringing, being one of the Stolen Generation. How would you say that part of your life contributes towards your music?
Yeah, you can't not write about who you are as an individual or your experiences. This is me speaking. I've been living down on Phillip Island for moved down here March last year from living in Melbourne and encompassed in the rat race that is Melbourne. And living down here on Phillip Island, it's my great-grandmother's country, and I feel so at home here, But experiences that I've had, even as a 48-year-old man, and you go and get a coffee in the main street of Cows, and racism pops up its ugly head. You think you're after 48 years of existence in your songline, your life's journey, but I'm always ready to defend myself in that regard, and my songs will do that. My songs will create the buffer zone in between that. And rather than me turning around and treating the person with disrespect and exactly what they've done to me, I will write a song about that. And it's all about externalizing what's going on inside my soul, and that's all I'm wanting to do as a muso is, and I liken it to dropping a pebble in the pond. The ripple effect will be not me going and treating that person with the same disrespect that they gave me, but me educating them rather than slapping them over the top of the head with a nulla, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
it's about not doing what has been done to me, you know.
Yeah. So am I understanding when you say the music creates a buffer, does it also give you the confidence to put those views and aspects across to an audience?
Yeah, and it gives me solace too, you know, especially in regards to grief and loss. You know, when I've lost my mum, that evening I went and wrote a song about my mum, a song called Tired Eyes, you know. Her grandson, my nephew, sort of leant across her in the room at Traralgon Hospital, and he leant across his nan's chest and he said, "Nan, we know you're tired, just go to sleep," you know. And so I writ Tired Eyes.
Yeah.
Another instance is when I lost my brother Wally. I put a photograph of him up on the wall, and I walked past that photo, and it was as if he watched me walk from one side of the room to the other. And that's the phenomenon that happens, you know, and so I had to go and write photographs. And these songs are all about healing, and not only healing me as an individual, but other people that are still trying to find their way home, you know what I mean? And give people not the physical support of me going to hug them or so forth, but a song can do that. A song can take somebody to this place where they're full of confidence to go to maybe link up Victoria or New South Wales, link up South Australia or whatever, and so they do move towards this new tomorrow, you know, and that's what we as performers are doing. We're dropping that pebble in the pond, and hopefully it does get, you know, we're already home, you know. I'm on my great grandmother's country, but some of these people who have never. And like I was saying in the previous interview, is that when an Aboriginal person sees another Aboriginal person in the street, you know you're connected in this beautiful ideology that you go through the same things as that person that you've just walked past. You can't say that about non-Indigenous people. You know, we're different people, but we're connected. We're connected through, you know, maybe our genealogy, but our ancestry, and we're connected to this country, you know, and that's...
And common experience.
That's right.
You said you're living now on Phillip Island in your great-grandmother's country, so physically home. Would you say through your music now that you are also emotionally home, or are you still on that journey?
That's a beautiful question, because we live in a house now, me and my wife. We live in a house that was you know, we moved down here March last year, but the previous owners of this house was a 97-year-old man and his 93-year-old wife. And I'm walking into this house, and this is just me and my wife, but walking into this house, you can feel the love in the house. These two people were married, and I was sitting next door and next door is the son of the 97-year-old man. He holiday house, and he was just happened to be next door yesterday. And he said, "Kutcha," and I wrote this song called. I wrote a song since I've been here. It's called "Falling." And this 97-year-old man and his wife have been married for 70 years.
Wow.
And so, through this house, me being on my country and opening up to this, and you know, we as Aboriginal people, we sometimes live too much in the physical, but I believe I'm just divining what is being sent to me by my ancestry, and living in this house and feeling the love in this house. I wrote this song called Falling about, and the genesis of the song is through these two old people that lived here. But singing this song to the guy next door about his father and his mother's experiences, this old fella must have woken up every morning looking at his wife and thinking, and I can't think for him, but he must have woken up, geez, I'm in love with you. You know what I mean? And when you talk about me living on my country, my great-grandmother's country, and there's special experiences you have only when you live on your own country and your connectedness to that country. And living in Melbourne, all those years, you know, especially being institutionalised in Melbourne, but I never had those. I was always in limbo, you know what I mean? But living down here, there's this beautiful, you know, and I walk on the beaches less than 500 metres away, and I walk on the beach and I think, I wonder if my Nana Polly Briggs, you know, if I'm ever walking in the footsteps that she, you know,
took. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thought, you know what I mean? And so I think more than just the physical, I think in a spiritual sense. And, you know, when I don't know, you know, I get these thoughts that sometimes the thoughts that I have are not actually mine, you know what I mean? I believe that I'm, you know, am I being defined by my ancestry, do you know what I mean? So, I don't know, I sometimes go off with the fairies and so forth, but, you know.
I think it's interesting, we started this conversation talking about, you know, the songs that you write are from you, they're about you, and I remember thinking to myself, well, you know, that almost seems obvious, doesn't it? Because none of us know what it feels like to be anybody else. We only know what it feels like to be us. And hearing you talk, I've sort of got this sense that perhaps I've taken family for granted. I mean, they've always been there. I haven't had any hardships, you know, forced upon me. And it makes me think, oh, I guess it's beautiful to hear you say, I wonder whether my great-grandmother would have walked here, whether I'm walking in her footsteps. These are things that, you know, I've never really considered of myself because I take all of those things for granted.
That's a beautiful thought in regards to what I'm thinking, you know. And so can you imagine if there's another person who's same age as me who's sitting maybe in Toorak, but is an Aboriginal person that's been removed from all that and has never felt that connection. And it's my responsibility and Archie's responsibility, and it was Ruby's responsibility, and all the singers, all the singers and poets, Aboriginal singers and poets, that it's our responsibility to connect those people back home. Do you know what I mean? Not just
absolutely,
but spiritually, and that's I feel that on not only on my shoulders, but it's our responsibility to drop that pebble and let our people come home and through music, you know, I'm getting the opportunity to do that. And that's why performing at Womadelaide is not just gigs for me. It's about educating sometimes the uneducated and hopefully that they might come and just walk past during one song and that song might connect them. Geez, I felt something there, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not speaking. I'm not trying to pump up my own tyres or have tickets on myself. All I'm wanting to do is you know, I've had the opportunity to go home.
Yeah. It sounds like you're talking about the point, you know, and some people might say I became a performer because I wanted recognition and I wanted to be famous, and other people just say, you know what, I wanted someone to experience something that they might not have been able to experience independent of the work I produced.
They're all byproducts of what it is that if you do it every single day, well then they're the byproducts of what happens. But it's not about me being, you know, a so-called famous. All I'm wanting to do is even at schools, if a little kid goes home and he says to his parents, "Mum, Dad," they're sitting at the kitchen table at 7 o'clock having their dinner, and this little kid says, "Mum, Dad, there's this guy at our school today, real big Aboriginal guy, bald fella, and he said he was a stolen gems kid, and he got taken away because of the colour of his skin," and he explained that, this, that, and everything. So what's happening is them kids are educating their parents, and the conversation is happening in their house where it's never happened before. That's the beauty in what it is that I get the opportunity to do, and all of us do it, Archie and so forth. And it's not about performing for us. It's about the songline, the true songline of what it is that we're doing. People seem to think that we all we want to do is be heard, you know what I mean? But we're people who learnt to listen to, and listen to the stories, and listen to our elders, and it's not about wanting to be heard. I've sat and listened to stories at Cootamundra women, girls, and the stories that they tell, about living at Cootamundra Girls' Home, which was the Cootamundra Hospital, and they tell me stories that when they were told off or scolded, they were put in a room which was the old morgue, and could you imagine, these young, they're 70, 80-year-old women that are, telling me these things, So,
yeah,
it's about listening to. It's just the stories they tell,
I have so many questions, and I'm so scared we're going to run out of time real quick. It's a beautiful conversation so far. Worth mentioning at this stage, because we were talking about being recognised, that you have had the NAIDOC Award for Indigenous Person of the Year, and you had a Deadly Award for Male Artist of the Year. It would be easy for me to assume that these may stand out as highlights in your career, but is it something rawer than that? Is it something more organic, a performance that stands out in your mind where perhaps you touched someone or affected someone? What would be the highlight for you?
It's beautiful that you talk about that, but I just recently done a series of what were they called, workshops at Dalesford in early January, and they were for the Boat Singers, which is choirs and so forth. And rather than me try and teach the choirs as to how to sing proper, and all I did is I went around to each participant and asked them why did they get into music, and why do they think, why are they in choirs, and why do they want to sing, and the beautiful thing was that the answers that they gave were completely void of music itself. All they wanted to do was, and there were unbelievable moments in time where some of the women would explain, I got into singing in a choir because, and they were really heartfelt answers, do you know what I mean? And they're the things that stick in my mind rather than performing at the MCG in front of 80,000 people. Them 80,000 people don't care who you are, where you're from. They're just waiting for the game, do you know what I mean? Game time at the G. Whereas when you interact with people that, and I tried to explain to the participants in this songwriting, I'm not a psychologist or a counsellor. All I want to do is know who you are, and people like to hide in choirs. There's 30 people that are singing, so what they do is they're actually hiding from the audience. And what I sort of tried to explain to some of the participants is maybe sing your own songline. Don't go singing other people's songs. I am, you are, we all are. Write your own songline. Write what it is that you want to impart to an audience. And it was beautiful to witness, because these people are somewhat hiding in choirs. They're, not that I want to be negative, but they're too shy to do it individually. And what I was trying to impart is sit down, write your songline, your story, and do it as an individual one time. Even if it scares the living daylights out of you, go do it, because once you do it once, you'll want to do it again and again and again. And some of the stories that were being told were, are very heartfelt, and just, and that's all I want to do. And so there's some of the things that remind me why I'm in what I'm in, rather than the big massive gigs, Womadelaide UK or performing at the Queen Elizabeth Hall on the Thames in London. Or they're beautiful opportunities in life, but they're not the things that sustain me or fulfill me,
I'll surmise a question around what you've already told me. One of them was, what was it that made you pursue a solo career after performing with Blackfire, which was the community fundraising band? I did wonder what the impetus was to do that, but I think you almost explained it through the choir question there about singing your own songs and perhaps not hiding in the group.
Yeah, and life is all about opportunity and grasping that opportunity. And I was given the opportunity to maybe just and that's when you get support, from Paul Kelly and David Bridie and my dear brother Paul Hester, and there's people come and not only sit beside you and become long-time friends, they're confidants, and they give you the opportunity to do what they've been doing for so long, and around the world. And that's what I want to do. That's what I want to sit beside a young kid who's up and coming and get him to experience what I've experienced. And that's, once you come to a realization that that's what, you've been given the responsibility to do, I feel it is my purpose to do that. But, we can talk for hours.
I'm not even scratching the surface here. You're a wonderfully eloquent speaker, and it's been a pleasure talking to you today. You're coming to Womadelaide in March. You've got a performance on the Friday evening, the 7th, and also on the 8th of the Saturday as well. Yeah. So there are a couple of opportunities for people to come and hear your work.
Special appearance by Jeff Lang on the Saturday race. So.
I noted that. He played guitar on your album Black and Blue, didn't he?
One of the best blues guitarists in probably Australia, yeah.
Yeah, and he's doing a workshop on the Sunday too. I noted he's got a few performances and a workshop. So, there's some awesome opportunities there. Thank you so much for talking to me, Kutcha. It's been a real pleasure, and I wish I had a triple spot so we could just go on and on and on for hours. But I'll look forward to seeing your performances at Womadelaide. And you take good care.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.